Achtung, conscripts! Warlord Games is now an official sponsor of the Mordian Glory channel. And not only that, they have given me an affiliate link which I have popped down in the description below. By using that link, you can get your hands on some awesome World War II bolt action miniatures and at the same time support the Mordian Glory channel.
Bring it to me, Fagerite! 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 Fagerite!
You have all of ideas, so what are you waiting for? Do the right thing and buy yourself some bolt action today. Hello again and welcome to another Mordian Glory video. In today's episode, we shall be casting our ever critical eye over the new bolt action starter set, A Gentleman's War 3rd edition. We are going to dive into the nitty gritty detail. What units do you get in this box set? How good is it for beginners? And most importantly, how does it stack up against some of the other starter sets that Warlord Games sells? That's our mission for today. And you know what? Without further ado, let's fix bayonets and charge right into this thing. So first off, let's clarify, who is this starter set aimed at? This is a beginner starter set for two people who are interested in getting into the game of bolt action. Perhaps you and a buddy want to get into this game, but you're not sure where to start and you don't really want to be spending hundreds and hundreds of pounds just yet. So you think, you know what, let's go halvesies on a bolt action starter set, because that way for less than 50 quid each, we can both get a few models, get a few dice, get all the accoutrement that we need, and we can start learning the game and seeing if it's for us. If it ends up being for you, then amazing, we've got a nice jumping off point for when we start getting into this game full send. But if it's not for you, then you've only spent 50 quid. So it's a pretty low risk option for two people to go for. However, it's not just for two people to split together. I have seen many people use starter sets like this to help convert their existing game group over to a game like bolt action. Let me see if this sounds familiar. Your game group mostly plays something like Warhammer 40k, but you can kind of feel that they're all looking for a new game, or maybe people are just a little bit burned out, or maybe you're just a bit burned out and you want to try and convince people to try something a bit new and a bit different and a bit interesting. Well, it can be kind of hard to convince people to straight away buy into a game. Even if it's just splitting a starter set like this, it can be kind of hard to convince people to buy in straight away. So what you end up doing is you buy this set, and then you invite a friend over and you say, hey, I've got this new game. I've built it all. I've painted it all. Just come over, a few beers or soft drink of your choice. I'll put lunch on, or we'll grab a pizza and let's just try this thing out, see how it plays. And then they come over, they play, and they get the bug, and suddenly they're playing bolt action, and amazing. And then you can try it again with another friend, and another, until before you know it, loads of people are playing bolt action. And I've seen this scenario play out many times. If I'm going to be honest, I have done the exact same thing myself. So this is a great starter set, not only if there's two of you that know you want to get into the game, but it's also a relatively low risk option for you if you want to get other people into the game of bolt action. You know that they just need a little taste of it, a little nudge to start getting them going. Long story short, this is definitely a starter set that is aimed at beginners in one capacity or another. It is not a full-blown starter army. Now, I know there's a little bit of confusion there. What's the difference between a starter set and a starter army? Well, give me a second and I'll just explain it. So the Gentleman's War is a starter set. It comes with a few models for a couple of factions, and you get the rulebook, and you get terrain, and you get a whole bunch of accoutrement to help you learn and play the game. This is a starter army. Now, you'll see it doesn't come with any terrain. It doesn't come with any dice or pin markers or rulebooks or anything. This is a whole army in a box. So if you buy something like this, the Rattenkrieg German Veteran Infantry Starter Army, then it costs about the same amount as a starter set, but this is basically a full 1250 point army for one faction. So this is, look, I'm going all in on one thing. Maybe there's already an existing game group and you know that you're going to have something to play, so you don't need to buy a starter set. Instead, you might as well go full send and get an army. This is a good option. But this is much better for people who are just starting out on their bolt action journey, especially in an area where there may not be as much pickup bolt action as you would like. So I just thought it was important to clarify the difference there, because some people might see this and go, oh, well, I need to get this because I need to start this whole bolt action group from scratch. But some people might be more interested in one of the starter armies because they know that there's already an existing bolt action scene where they play. But we've talked a lot of talk so far, but we haven't even got into what is in this starter set. Well, let's get into that right away. So in this box, you will get 12 British infantrymen, 12 German infantrymen, a Humber armoured car, that's for your British, a 222 armoured car, that's for your Germans. You will get a bolt action A5 rulebook, some assembly guides on how to build it all. You'll get a little bit of terrain to fight over. You'll get some order dice, enough for both sides. Get a little dice bag, a double-sided gaming mat. Now, this is a little just sort of paper gaming mat. It's good for your first few battles, but if you want to get a proper gaming mat, this is sort of just to get you started, not to last forever. You'll also get some plastic pin markers, which are important, and you'll get 10 six-sided dice. So it's just like you can see on the picture. You get a copy of the rulebook. You get some terrain to fight over. You get all of the gaming tools that you need to play the game, and you get an equal amount of British and German forces to fight against each other. But I know that some people are going to be really curious about these models in particular, so don't worry, I've got you covered. Starting off with the Germans, here is the picture of one of the sprues of German infantry that you will get in this set. Now, you will get 2 of these sprues in total, and each sprue allows you to build 6 troops. You can zoom in and you can see that these infantry are very easy to build. The legs and the body come in one part, and when it comes to the arms, you've got the rifles and the arms pretty much molded into 1 or 2 parts. So all you need to do is cut this bit off here, glue it on the side, cut this arm off here, glue it so it's lined up with the hand here and on the arm here, and then you will be on the torso here, I should say, and you will be good to go. So these are very easy to build plastic infantry models. You'll get 1 guy kneeling down, 4 guys stood up, and this chap here is lying down. And he is the only one of these models where you will need to glue a part of the body on. You'll need to take this leg and glue it on here. So the models are very straightforward, but what options do they come with? For head options, you get a mixture of pith helmets. You also get the ones with the Stahl helms. You get some field caps, and you even get things like an officer's hat as well. So you can build these guys with the sort of desert pith helmets if you want, or you can go for ones with the Stahl helms if you want them to have that steel helmet. As for the weapon options that you can get with this sprue, what can you give your guys? There are a total of 5 rifles, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You've got 2 submachine guns, 1 here and 1 here. And you also can build a single LMG, an anti-tank rifle, and a light mortar. So not only do you get weapons to equip your standard troopers, rifles, SMGs, and LMGs, but you also get a few parts to build some special weapon teams as well with the anti-tank rifle and with the light mortar. So you get a lot of options here for basic infantry troopers and for more specialized guys as well. Now, sticking with the Germans for the time being, we can also take a look at the sprues for the 222 armored car. Now, this is in plastic, so you will be able to use the same plastic glue for your infantry as you will do for your armored car. Now, some of you may be wondering, what's the difference between a 222 and a 223 armored car? Well, the 222 comes equipped with an autocannon, and it also gets a medium machine gun. These 2 parts essentially go together. The 223 is a command vehicle, so it gives up some of its firepower, so you only get the medium machine gun, but then you do get to use this as a command vehicle, which can make your other vehicles have a better leadership. Now, obviously, within the context of this starter set, you only have the 1 vehicle, So you probably don't need to worry about going for a 223 and going for that command vehicle. Instead, you'll probably just focus on the 222 because the autocannon is a very good weapon. If you want an example of what the difference between these two vehicles looks like, here is the 222. And you can see we have got the autocannon sticking out here, and we've got the medium machine gun next to it there. And here is the 223. You can see we've got the big command aerial around there representing the extra leadership and the ability to activate multiple vehicles at once and all that kind of stuff. But we've only got the single medium machine gun sticking out of the front. Moving over to the British, we have got the 8th Army. Like with the Germans, you will get 2 of these sprues, and each sprue can build 6 infantry. Like with the Germans, we will get 4 people standing up. We'll get 1 guy lying down, and we'll have to glue the leg on, and we get 1 guy who is kneeling. Now, I'm just going to be honest with you. I do feel like the British get a slightly better sprue than the Germans. Controversial, I know, controversial. But you'll notice there's a lot less like backpacks and accoutrements on this sprue, and instead we're getting a lot more weapon options. So we've got an absolute ton of head options as well. You've got the berets, you've got the Brody helmets, you've got the various Commonwealth infantry options that you've got here as well, like the Indian rifles and stuff. But the big thing, of course, is the weapons. So we get 2 SMGs, like the Germans, but we get 6 rifles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And all of our rifles have got bayonets on. Just saying. Bayonets are the best bit. And we get an anti-tank rifle. And we get a light mortar. But we get 2 LMGs. So we get an extra LMG over the German sprue. And we get an extra rifle over the German sprue. And then we get everything else that the Germans have as well. So I do think this is a slightly better sprue, not necessarily in the context of the starter set. I'm just speaking generally about British 8th Army versus the German Afrika Korps. As for the Humber armoured car, this is also in plastic, and like with the German armoured car, it can be built in 2 variants. You can have the Mark II or the Mark IV. The difference between the 2 variants is the Mark II comes with a medium machine gun and an autocannon, whereas the Mark IV comes with a medium machine gun and a light anti-tank gun. If you want my personal opinion on which variant I would take, based on the weapons alone, I'd probably go for the one with the autocannon. Light anti-tank guns are fine, but autocannons are really cool. That just about covers all of the models that we get in the kit, but there is this terrain back here. Now, this is MDF terrain, so it's made out of wood. So plastic glue won't work when trying to connect this thing. You will need a second kind of glue. You can either go for a wood glue or you could go for a super glue. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Well, if I buy super glue, I can use that to glue this together and glue my plastic models together. Technically, yes, you can. However, I strongly advise you, especially if you are a beginner, I strongly advise you not to build your plastic models with superglue. It's not that it won't work, it's just that it will make it a lot more frustrating. Superglue, it sticks things instantly. And especially when you're trying to line up one rifle arm with another arm, if one bit glues instantly, you might not have quite got it at the right angle for the essentially wristless, handless arm to connect to the rifle where you want. So you might find that you end up with it's a bit frustrating when you're trying to like glue things together really quickly and everything. Plastic glue, it's tacky and it sets over 30 seconds to like a minute. You get a fair amount of time to play with the model. So what you can do is put a blob of plastic glue on the torso, put the first arm on there, put a blob of glue on the other arm, and then you'll be able to move them into position whilst they stay stuck to the model. Move them into position so they line up perfectly. So yes, you could use super glue for both, but as someone who has built models with super glue, built models with plastic glue, I can tell you right now, you'll just find a much more pleasant experience if you go for plastic glue on plastic models and then super glue on metal, resin, and any wood things as well. Now, overall, I do think that the Gentleman's War starter set is a very good one, and I can definitely recommend it. However, there's two things you're going to want to consider. The first one is, this is an early to mid-war starter set. Now, that won't limit you in terms of using these models. Everything you see here, you can use in pretty much any phase of the war for any bolt action game. Most people don't really worry about early, mid, or late war. But it does have one restriction, which is that the weapons that it comes with are aimed at early and mid-war battles. So an example of this is for your Germans, you'll notice that you get submachine guns, but you don't get any options for assault rifles. Assault rifles are very much a late war piece of tech, and so you wouldn't be able to build any infantry with assault rifles from this kit. That is genuinely not the end of the world at all. It's just something to be aware of. Likewise, well, to be fair, with the Brits, it really doesn't impact you anywhere near as much because a rifle is a rifle, an SMG is an SMG. So whilst these guys are equipped with Thompsons, and in late war they would come with Stens, rules-wise, it makes no difference whatsoever. So it's only really the Germans that are getting impacted by this, and it is in a very minor way. Not in a way that should really bother you, especially if you're just getting into the game fresh. Just something you'll want to consider. If you love bot action, you might be like, okay, really enjoy this game. Next German infantry I get, I'm going to want some assault rifles, because they are a really good bit of kit. The other thing you want to be aware of is the other starter sets that Warlord Games makes. Now, one of those is the Band of Brothers starter set, and it is Germans versus Americans. Now, you'll notice it comes with pretty much everything, all of the accoutrement that Gentleman's War comes with. You get a rulebook, you get pin markers, you get order dice, you get templates, you get D6 dice, you even get a little bit of terrain as well. The difference here is you get some American airborne rather than British 8th Army. You're getting American airborne on the Allies side, and you are getting a half-track rather than an armoured car. And for the Germans, you're also getting a half-track rather than an armoured car, but you are getting some late war grenadiers. So these guys will come with things like assault rifles. So if you really care about like getting STG 44s right from the beginning of your bolt action journey, then this might be one you want to consider. Of course, you might want to consider it as well if you're not that bothered about collecting British, but you'd rather have some Yanks v Germans. But arguably, the best starter set that Warlord Games makes is the Battle of the Bulge starter set. So this comes with the rulebook, the pin markers, the templates, all of the dice you need, and it comes with a bit of terrain, and it comes with the assembly guides and all that kind of stuff. But it comes with a lot more models. It comes with 24 American infantry and an armored car. That's like double the amount of infantry that Band of Brothers comes with, and double the amount of infantry that the Gentleman's War one comes with, and you're still getting a vehicle as well, which is amazing. And then on the German side, you are getting 18 of the Winter Fallschirmjäger. You're not getting an armored car, but you are getting 6 additional infantry. And let me tell you, Fallschirmjäger are dead hard bastards. I have built a lot of these guys, and I have used them on the tabletop. And the fact that you could equip everyone with assault rifles, some machine guns, light machine guns, you can really load these guys up with a ton of extra weapons. So you might be thinking, well, why wouldn't you just get Battle of the Bulge? Well, the reason a lot of people hesitate when it comes to becoming a big bulge boy is because it's winter themed. I personally like winter themed armies, and it's actually very easy to paint them now with the advent of things like speed paints, and also with the fact that you can get the instant snow basing stuff now from like AK Interactive. It's very, very good. I really like painting winter stuff, but for a lot of people, they're like, no, I don't want winter stuff because I don't have any terrain that's winter or anything like that. They'll look a bit out of place. So that is a factor. Obviously, it's not just about getting the most bang for buck. It's about getting the right vibes, about having the right models. So my summary of this is Gentleman's War and Band of Brothers, fantastic kits. Love both those. Both those starter sets are fantastic for Americans versus Germans or for doing Brits versus Germans. Battle of the Bulge probably is the one that comes with the most value for money and comes with the most models, but you're going to have to decide if you want to play with winter models or not. Just to be clear, very, very clear about this, there's no in-game reason why you can't have winter models playing against summer models. There's no reason against it. There's no rules difference. It is purely aesthetics. So when I say you have to decide whether you're comfortable playing with them, it literally is a case of, do you like the look of the models? Is the aesthetic a reason? There's no in-game difference between them. It's just your personal preference. So that just about covers everything to do with the Gentleman's War starter set. Who it's aimed at, what you get in the box, and some of the other starter sets you might want to consider. However, there are two other small things I want to touch upon, just to round the whole video out and cover all my bases, because at the same time as the Gentleman's War starter set has been released, Warlord has also put a couple of bundles on their website. You've got the Desert Rats bundle, and you've also got the Desert Fox bundle. Both of these bundles build upon the starter set and are aimed at supporting one of the nations or the other. So, for example, with the Desert Rats bundle, you get the Gentleman's War starter set. So you get the Germans, and you get the British, and you get the rulebook and everything else. But you also then get 30 more of the British 8th Army Infantry. So that would be 42 in total. And you get a Grant medium tank, and you get an M3 Stuart, and you get a universal carrier, which is a little transport for that can carry 5 of your blokes around. And you also get another piece of terrain. All of these extra models are more than enough for you to build a full 1,250 point army for the British. You're going to have 42 infantry. Remember, you can build specialists like anti-tank rifles and light mortars from here. So you're going to have plenty of infantry for your line infantry, for your specialist infantry, for officers. And then you're getting a full armored platoon as well with the armored car and the Stuart and the Grant. And then you're getting plenty of terrain. It's a good bundle. And you're getting a discount on it as well. So you are saving roughly about 40 quid, £38.50, then buying all of these things separate. Likewise, for the Germans, you're getting basically a whole army here. You're getting an additional 30 of the Africa Corps infantry, giving you 42 in total. You have the ability to make anti-tank rifles, light mortars and stuff like that. So plenty of infantry. And you're getting a Panzer III. So you will have a Panzer III and a 222. But rather than getting another vehicle, what they've done is thrown in a big old flak 88, which is very, very cool. This is a huge anti-tank gun. It's not a vehicle, but it will very easily pop any enemy vehicles that it does come across. And you're also getting another piece of terrain as well. Now, truth be told, I do think both of these bundles are actually really good. If you buy an 8th Army starter army, for example, it's going to cost you £104. And even to take into account the price of like the rulebook and the terrain, this already starts becoming a good deal. And then when you understand that the 8th Army starter army is kind of limited in like what vehicles it comes with, I think if I was starting off fresh with the British and I wanted to go 8th Army, I'd definitely consider this bundle. Because, yeah, some of it's a bit fleshed out by Germans. You're only going to have like a tiny German force. But this is still a bit of an excuse. It's still a bit of a good reason to then build this out into a German desert force as well. If I was wanting to get two 1250 point armies for bolt action, I would probably go for the British Desert Rats bundle and then go and get myself a German Desert Africa Corps starter army. Because the end result of that would be you would have 42 British infantry, an armoured platoon, and you'd also have like a transport, and you'd have some terrain and all the dice and all the rule books and everything. And then on the German side, you'd have actually 48 infantry, and you'd have a Panzer III, and you'd have a 222, and you'd have the medium machine gun team and the medium mortar team, and you'd also have the big flak 88. That would be 2 similarly sized forces, plenty of flexibility in there, and you'd be able to get 2 full bolt action armies with rules and terrain and all that good stuff for about 275 quid, roughly. Under £300. Now that's expensive if it was just one army, but it's 2 armies. Looking at this in comparison to like 40k for a moment, I don't think you can get one 40k army for under £300 new in box, let alone 2. So this is a really good deal, especially if you want to collect 2 armies, or you know you're going to want 2 full armies to try and start converting people over to bolt action. Interestingly, I wouldn't try and do the same thing from using the Desert Fox bundle, just because the British 8th Army Starter Army doesn't come with as many good vehicles and stuff. It just comes like a couple of Bren carriers. So if you are looking at the, I want to use this bundle to springboard myself onto 2 full armies, I'd go for the British bundle and then a German Africa Corps starter army. I wouldn't go Desert Fox bundle and then an 8th Army starter army. I think individually the bundles are very good, but if you're looking at that 2-for-1 scenario that we were kind of describing how we'd achieve that, I'd go via the British bundle rather than the German one. Just before we wrap everything up, I want to talk a little bit about the Gentleman's War 3rd edition starter set versus the old one that we had in 2nd edition. In 2nd edition, we had a very similar bundle to this, except that it came with 24 infantry for the Germans and 24 infantry for the British. Now that was an absolutely fantastic starter set and probably the best one that Warlord Games has ever produced. Now they don't produce it anymore because it was a 2nd edition one and it came with the 2nd edition rulebook. This one, instead of coming with those extra infantry, comes with the terrain. For some people, they're definitely going to see that as a bit of a downgrade, and I can totally understand that. But the one thing that I would say is it's important to understand at which point the 2nd edition starter, the 2nd edition Gentleman's War bundle dropped and this 3rd edition one. It was a lot later. It was a lot later in the edition, and I know a lot of people who picked up the 2nd edition Gentleman's War did so just to essentially flesh out existing armies. It was a starter bundle, but really it was more of just a good deal for a lot of veteran players. Now this one has come out much earlier. Think about it, we're only about a year, less than a year? I think we were less than a year at time of recording of being in to Bolt Action 3rd edition. So it's come at a much earlier point. So having something like terrain in here is actually a big factor, because there are going to be a lot of people who are going to get into Bolt Action for the first time, especially around this time with 40k 10th edition starting to wind down a little bit. We're getting into that 3rd year of that edition, and there's going to be a bunch of people that are going to be looking at coming over to something like Bolt Action because they would have heard about it. It's got a great reputation, but they're not going to have the terrain that's appropriate. And so including something like a piece of terrain here is a very good move and makes sense when you look at it through the lens of beginners, because you need to have a piece of terrain that allows beginners to get a feel for how terrain rules work. How is it like to, because you could use this as a building or you could use it as a ruin and get a feeling for 2 different kinds of terrain rules. So yes, not as good on the model front, but I think this is great at targeting people who are looking to get into Bolt Action completely fresh. So it's, for me, I see it more of as a side grade when you take into account the big picture. But of course, all of this is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you think about the Gentleman's War 3rd edition starter set. How does it compare to some of the other starter sets for you? And What do you think of those bigger bundles? If you enjoyed today's video, then don't forget to go ahead and smash that like button. It's very important when we're doing a game like Bolt Action, it's not 40k, to smash that like button, because it really does support this video with the YouTube algorithm and means that we can get it out to as many people as possible. Also, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more Bolt Action content, then please consider subscribing to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day.